Hello from Wilson, North Carolina and the Gillette Soccer Complex. It is the official Boys U.S. Youth Soccer National League Series. I'm Marky Bilson giving you today's game between United FA Premier from Atlanta, Georgia and California's Fullerton Rangers 00 White, or 2000 White if you prefer. Of course, being Fullerton, they are from Fullerton, California. These two teams have had one game under their belts already in the series. Yesterday, the team from Atlanta, and we will be referring to these teams a lot by their location names today, defeated Cincinnati's Cup Gold team 4-2, whereas McLean defeated the Fullerton-based Rangers 00 White 4-0 yesterday. Both these teams employ a 4-3-3 set, and we're just about set to kick off. Now, the interesting thing here is that, as I said, the United FA 01 or 2001 Premier team out of Region 3 is wearing white, but officially the Fullerton Rangers go by Fullerton Rangers White. But they're going to be wearing the fluorescent yellow uniforms here today. So if that makes any sense to you, the white team will actually be wearing yellow, and the team that doesn't put a color in their nickname will be wearing white. So you can see here in Wilson the beautiful day we're having. There are a few clouds in the sky, but really no chance whatsoever of any rain or anything like that. In fact, it has been unseasonably warm, and we may have temperatures today getting up to about 70 at the end of the game. The field is a little bit muddy. You may be able to see here on it some dirt spots and such. Now, it's still it's not torn up. It's not like there's dirt patches so much as the game begins. However, what you do see here is that there might be some mud circumstances or some circumstances where footing is a little bit difficult to, dirt in the spikes, that sort of thing is what I'm trying to say. So we're underway here. This, of course, will be the second game. They'll be playing all weekend here in Wilson. We'll tell you a little bit more about the series as time goes by. I want to tell you who the starting goalkeepers are. First, for Atlanta, Cy Brown will be in net. In fact, he just celebrated a birthday, just turned 15. He was born on December 4th. And for Fullerton, their goalkeeper is Jose Estrada. Shot on goal here. And that was Estrada making the save. Try to give you some of the players. This is one of the three strikers, and this is Zishan Shadhari. And in fact, I was told by the head coach today, Velko Itov, right before the game, that they just call him Z. They very rarely even discuss what his last name is. It, in fact, is just a little bit more, shall we say, just a little bit more difficult to pronounce. Chaudhary. I'm going with Shadhari, but we might be calling him by the nickname Z a few times here, even though it's unofficial. This is a game of 15-year-olds. It's 15 and under. So what you're going to be seeing are players who will be not already committed to colleges, obviously, but they will be playing for college scholarships, and I'll try to denote some of the college scouts that are here today. Certainly in the second half, I can see what I believe are 3 or possibly even 4 watching this game. Now the stands, and I think you can see this, although perhaps the action right now is more focused on the ball, but there are 2 small sets of stands and over on the other side. And in fact, if we get a glimpse of them when the play goes over that way, you'll even see that it's such a bright, sunny day, even though we're in, mid-December, that you've got people wearing with sun umbrellas trying to protect themselves from the brightness. And I'm standing not in a press box or a tower, but rather beside the field, much like a sideline reporter would. And I've got to wear a baseball cap, even though I am wearing sort of coat and tie to keep professional. And the reason being is that it keeps the sun out of your eyes. And I can see a little bit better without the sunglasses than with, a tint to when trying to read numbers and the like. This kick was taken by Christian Marquez. And now you see the keeper, Brown. And he'll punt it away. Last week, the Girls National League Series was being played. And a nice takeaway there. Get the number for you. That's Miranda. No real wind here. You may see that ball. It's sort of died in the air, but minimal wind, if any. I am detecting no breeze right now. We're only about 3 minutes into the game or so, and we'll see more of an up and down. Officially right now, it is 61 degrees. There's a high expected to be about 68, so unseasonably warm. And the ball goes out of bounds. Just to give you more idea on what the weather is, if you want to. I said the field, I don't want to call it muddy, but there might be some issues where you would have a little bit, dirt in the spikes, that sort of thing. That's always something you're going to have on a natural surface, but I'm saying the field is a bit more moist, and I think you can see a little bit with a little more dirt spots. But at the same time, the field is still, because of the nice weather, that the mild winter, so to speak, so far, there has been, and here we have a shot that goes off the mark. You can also see that the grass is still green as the ball goes out of bounds. There's a 0% chance of rain, and the wind is coming from the south to southwest at 9 miles an hour, but that's what the weatherman says. My body says, you know what? There's no wind here. Ball thrown in. And it's taken by Atlanta. The striker, it was not Guzman, but it was Alvarez, one of the strikers who had the ball, but he was taken away from him. So here now comes 0-1 Fullerton. Towards the center of the field, but that ball is taken away by Georgia. Serrato was the player that had the ball, number 11, but possession will go back now to the lads from California. Tell you a little bit about this tournament if you're curious. The U.S. Youth Soccer National League Series. U.S. Youth Soccer National League games this week are kicking off the 2015-16 season. And these teams will be playing in Orlando and Las Vegas in future matchups this season. Now, the National League teams are comprised of the top 80 boys team from across the country. Teams in the National League have earned their place in the league based on success in UFU soccer, regional and national events. The National League sets itself apart from other leagues based on the meaningful matches, the talent level on these teams. And we'll be identifying some of the players a little bit later in the broadcast. We want to let the sort of game and the vision speak for itself. Now, in addition to playing in front of some of the top scouts in the country, these teams are playing to earn a berth in the 2016 U.S. Youth Soccer National Championships in Frisco, Texas. That's right outside the Metroplex, or I guess one could say it's part of the Metroplex, a suburb of Dallas-Fort Worth. Many National League alumni have gone on to play in prestigious competitions like the NCAA College Cup, the MLS, NWSL, UEFA Champions League, and the FIFA World Cup. Now, if you're more curious and you'd like to know just a little bit more, we urge you to visit the U.S. Youth Soccer National League, and you can find that at usyouthsoccer.org. So if you're online right now watching on the Turbo Sports Group, and you'd like to say, well, you know what, the ball is being, as we see a corner kick here from Fullerton, and no header underway. And what we say is that you'd like to know a little more about these teams or the organizations or what have you. That's your in. Just go to usyouthsoccer.org. Right now, Atlanta has the ball. Throwing the ball in here will be Trey Hines. Hines kicks it to nobody in particular in the center of the field, and it looks like Fullerton will now have possession. The ball goes out of bounds and down the hill. I know many of our viewers will be watching from California and Georgia, so they can kind of relate to the warm weather, I would imagine. But when you think of North Carolina, you think of hills and you think of woods. And that's kind of the Gillette Soccer Complex here in Wilson, as you can see from beyond. Of course, most of the trees have by now lost their leaves. Here we have one of the strikers and a guy who's had his feet on a lot of balls so far, Davis Edelman. He had 2 goals in the United FA Premier Team's 4-2 victory against Cup Gold from Cincinnati yesterday. That's 99 in white on the center of the field, and he's a sizable player. And he's actually now in a circumstance where I think he was trying to set up to see if he could, if they could have gotten him, he might have had an open shot, as he had gone ahead of the defense, but it was not to be. But here you see the ball rolling down the hill and into the woods, or there's a bit of a barrier before it gets into the woods. But some of the game time will be taken away because of that. So this game may wind up being a minute or two shorter than what it normally would, because balls will kind of go down the hill and you have to fetch them. It's very North Carolina. Long shot there, covered up. That's Estrada with the save for the boys from California. Again, Fullerton, California. They're wearing the fluorescent uniforms and the white with red trim from the lads from Atlanta, Georgia. Trying to get the ball ahead. Oscar Diaz for Fullerton was in the play there, wearing number 17. Throwing the ball in here will be Carlos Guzman. Or rather, kicking it in, forgive me. And a scoring opportunity here for Fullerton, who's looking for their first goal of their visit to Wilson. See if they can set something up off of a header or what have you. Shot in. The shot goes in! I'm trying to determine the number. The first goal for Fullerton this tournament, scored by holding midfielder Ryan Minardis. Minardis with the goal. It was off the kick from Diaz. Is that correct, Diaz? Or no, Guzman. I'm sorry, Carlos Guzman. Forgive me here. I'm giving rosters like 5 minutes before the game, and they're in alphabetical rather than numerical order. And I know that's no excuse for you watching the game, but sometimes if this isn't quite, and I do apologize, but if it's not quite on top, if it's not instantaneously with the second, this might be one of the reasons why. But anyway, 1-0 Fullerton, their first goal of the tournament. The goal comes roughly 13 minutes into the game. And Velko Iotov, unhappy with the turn of events. He's the coach for Atlanta. Long kick here. A shot, but it's blocked away. Good play by the defense. The defensive line of the Rangers from Fullerton. It was Shaw throwing the ball in. This is kicked out. Fullerton normally coached by Sage Moore, but it's Abraham Jacinto calling the shots today. Well, Coach Moore, if you're watching back in California or wherever you are, we hope that you're enjoying a very healthy and speedy recovery from your recent surgery. A centering pass, but nobody there to try to knock it in. Strong check to keep possession earlier for Atlanta. It was Artiago who had the ball here on the left wing before it went out of bounds. He's wearing number 16, but the ball is kicked once more out of bounds. That's Shaw, Andrew Shaw, who wears number 14. And we'll have a substitution here for Fullerton, up 1-0 very shortly. Ryan Minardis off a kick. He has the only goal of the game. We're still in the early going, just, roughly 15 minutes or so in. A little bit more than that. Battle for possession. Looks like Atlanta will be able to keep it thanks to some nice play there by Davis Edelman. His superior size and really ability to go with the flow has stood out despite his team is trailing 1-0. Our first substitution, it comes from Fullerton, team that calls itself white but wears fluorescent. Is that a yellow or a green? A yellow-green, I guess. So coming in for Fullerton is Kevin Resendez, and coming out is Sammy Fadul. This kick will be handled by Trey Hines. Center of the field, but Fullerton is there. And here they get it out of their own end. Trying to keep it in like a defenseman at the blue line. That was Michael Walsh, number 5 for Atlanta. The ball goes out of bounds. As Oscar Diaz, who has been one of the, shall I say, ball handlers for Fullerton in this game, but he knocks it out of bounds. And the ball whistle blows. They say no foul, but Atlanta will get the ball. And you can perhaps hear, I don't know if you could hear that or not, but officials stating that was dangerous. That was dangerous. So Atlanta with a chance to tie here. But the ball goes out of bounds and we'll have a kick. Or a throw in, mind you, from the corner. That is going to be Shaw throwing it in. Covered up there by the keeper. That's Estrada, Jose Estrada, born 6 days into February in 2001. And now Atlanta keeps possession. Nice play right there by number 13, Trey Hines, but Fullerton with a 1-0 lead with the ball. That's Edelman. Edelman gets past one defender and then another, but he just doesn't have an angle. Tries to get it to the center, but kicks it too long. Launching it into the center. That kick will go high, however. U.S. Youth Soccer National League. Here from Wilson, North Carolina. Where is Wilson, if you haven't checked it out on the map yet? Near Rocky Mount, North Carolina, home of Bill Merrifield. If you're listening from Fullerton, California, if you're an old baseball fan, do you remember the player the Angels got for Johnny Ray? There's a name you didn't expect to hear in this broadcast. Well, it was Bill Merrifield from Rocky Mount, North Carolina that they traded to the Pirates. He never played for the big club, so it was a skunker of a deal that the Angels got, getting an all-star for absolutely nothing. But Rocky Mount, it's more towards the central or eastern part. Think Raleigh, the capital of North Carolina, where NC State plays. And the Carolina Hurricanes, that's reasonably that vicinity, about 40, 47 miles or so away from Raleigh. Now coming in for Fullerton is Daniel Ruvalcaba, and coming out is Guzman, who has the assist on the one goal in this game, Carlos Guzman. And the ball is out of bounds, but Fullerton in Atlanta territory will maintain possession, and now we have a chance to see the skills of Ruvalcaba as he throws the ball in, trying to extend his team's 1-0 advantage here. Still early in the game in the first half. We're roughly the middle of the first half. Long kick here. And now Atlanta with a chance to tie. They've only got 3 men in the Fullerton zone, however. Edelman taking the ball back. He has shown so many skills here, but his team down 1-0 in the early going. And Coach Jacinto kind of frustrated that when Edelman gets the ball, now they're doing a good job at keeping him away from the net and pushing him over to the side, but yet defenders seem to fall down like bowling pins. One of 4 games we'll have today for you. As this kick is over the top of the net from Edelman. One of 4 games we'll have for you from Field 1 here in the Torboro Sports Network. Of course, right now there are simultaneously 4 games going on here in Wilson, and you can watch all sorts of soccer action here in the National League Series. Kick from Estrada, but looks like Atlanta will be able to cover here. And now a nice play there covering here for the Rangers. It was the recently inserted Ruvalcaba who was able to keep the ball near or in Atlanta's zone, if you will, or their half of the field, if you can excuse a hockey term. Now, Jonathan Serrano, one of the, well, probably the premier offensive player for Fullerton, kicked the ball wide of the net. He wears number 10. He's the attacking striker. Jonathan Serrano. And he was born on October 18th, 2000. A warm day from Wilson. Of course, people probably watching on their computers from all over the world. And I'm pleased to be able to say hello to you. And we very much see it's the modern era as Atlanta is going to be making some changes here very shortly. Some thoughts on that here. But first, let's go back to the action. And again, Fullerton is able to get Atlanta away from the center of the field, and they kick it out of bounds. And we're going to have a substitution now. For United, coming into the game will be Ethan Rose, wearing number 4, and also number 33, Daniel Dobrinsky, who has a goal. Coming out, Eric Serrato, as well as Andrew Shaw. And we'll have another sub here very shortly as well as the ball goes out of bounds. Coming into the game now, for the players from the Peach State. And I have bad news here. This is a player wearing, and this happens sometimes. Again, I do apologize. It's number 6, and since I'm standing, could you, by any chance, since that number does not correlate with the roster that I have, tell me the name of the player that just came in?
Number
6. And I can tell everyone that coming out of the game is Zihan Shadhari. What was the name? Excuse me?
Mario Ventura.
Mario Ventura. Thank you. So I have him on my roster as 26, and I do apologize if that sounded a little bit less than. And there, Vin Scully asking who the guy is. Mario Ventura. I will tell you that I am from Pittsburgh, and I know many years ago, actually 32 years ago, I think it was the kicker's name was Eric Schubert, and Pitt defeated Syracuse on a last play of the game, 42-yard field goal from a kicker. I think his name was Eric Schubert, and the reason I say I think it was, you can look this up, is that he wasn't on any roster. He was a total walk-on that Foge Fazio, who was coaching the Panthers at the time, the late Foge Fazio, sent into the game to win the game. It was his first kick. Nobody knew who he was, including the broadcasters at the time, and he wound up being player of the week for being this Walter Mitty character that won the game for the Pitt Panthers. And ultimately, that victory helped them go to a New Year's Day Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl that year. It was the year after Dan Marino. Marino was a rookie with the Dolphins in '83. Nice play there, but a shot on goal, and it goes in. Or no, they're going to wave the goal off, I believe. They're going to wave the goal off. So an offsides call is what I'm being told. Offsides. That makes sense. And our score remains 1-0 Fullerton. And by the way, if you're wondering, hey, why are you talking about that other football? Well, at the time, University of Pittsburgh played at Pitt Stadium. And hey, that was also Pitt's soccer stadium at the time. And in fact, perhaps the architect of that stadium was Jock Sutherland, a great old-time football coach, proponent of the single wing offense. And, well, he came to play an American football after playing soccer all his life. Said that the first football game he ever saw was the one he played in. First one he played in. Kick goes out of bounds there. But there, sometimes you're looking at, rosters and they don't have the right number. That does happen sometimes with 15-year-olds. But one thing I do know is Juan Ibarra is about ready to come in for Fullerton. And for Atlanta, it'll be Mickey Janowitz coming in. Edelman will go out. Coming in for Atlanta also. And I'll ask you to stay with Mari Ibarra coming out for Fullerton, and I hope I can get all these changes here, is Oscar Diaz, who's played a strong game. His team up 1-0. Atlanta is also losing the services right now of Trey Hines, and we've called his name a little bit. That's a good Georgia name, Hines. Reminds you of Hines Ward, doesn't it? Well, James Patterson will be asked to hunker down for Atlanta in just a minute. Let's see what player he replaces, and it appears that that player will be Adrian Resendiz coming out for Atlanta. And I hope you'll excuse the Larry Munson impersonation. Christian Marquez initially took the ball, but it was taken away from him. But now Fullerton gets it back. Here is Marquez in the center of the field. Now the kick. And the ball will be going back to the boys from the Peach State. We're more than 30 minutes into this game. Fullerton with a 1-0 advantage. The long kick there taken by Eric Solis, wearing Mario Lemieux's number 66. Did old Route 66 go to Fullerton, California? It obviously went to Southern California, but I can't say that I know off the top of my head where it ended. I think it ended in Los Angeles, but that's something you can go check out yourself if you are so inclined. Let's get back to the action after Brown's kick from net. Fullerton gets the ball back, trying to take a 2-0 lead. There's the striker, and centering pass Nicely taken away by Atlanta. Trying to identify the sweeper there that blocked the ball away for Atlanta, which trails 1-0. Give a lot of credit to Marco Suarez for preventing a second goal from being scored as the ball goes over the net here. We'll be playing soccer today at Wilson until about 6 p.m. Of course, this game will end around, noontime. I should also mention, I guess, for some of you watching, this is soccer in the morning. You're enjoying breakfast for us. You're in the 7 o'clock hour over there in California, so good morning to you. And Brown, a bit of hesitancy to kick the ball. Gets it to his teammate. Fresh troops here in the second part of the first half. 1-0 Fullerton. A goal scored by holding midfielder Ryan Menardis. So Menardis off a kick, knocking it in, a header. Past Brown. And it occurred about 15 minutes or so, a little over 10 minutes into the game. We'll have a substitution come in. Fullerton. Looks like Manuel Tovar is coming back from a knee injury. Will get some action here. Atlanta can't keep the ball in. Mario Barra had the ball taken from him. The kick goes out of bounds, and it looks like for the second time in a very short amount of time, Ethan Rose will be throwing the ball in. There's no somersault there. Good to see a somersault throw in here and the action that we've seen in Wilson. Brown covers it up. And we'll have our substitution, and Tovar will come in. There is the striker for Fullerton getting the ball ahead, but looks like Atlanta will still come in. And the ball goes out of bounds. So here comes Manuel Tovar, a man I desperately want to nickname Caesar, after the former Minnesota Twins outfielder of, the color TV era, but still long ago. Once played all 9 positions in a baseball game. Coming out is striker Jared Flores, and so Tovar, wearing number 24, will attempt to show the same versatility his namesake did many years ago. Well, that's almost 50 years ago, half a century. The ball goes out of bounds. It is Estrada that kicks on. Here's an opportunity for Atlanta, but the kick is knocked away and defended very well. I wanted to get the player who defended the shot. I think that was the goal scorer. Yes, it was Menardis creating the brick wall on the line of defense, and he's a midfielder. But here's a chance right now. Shot, but taken. Shot right at Estrada by number 12, Mikey Janowitz. A shot on goal, but not much of one. We're approaching the final stages of the first half. 1-0 Fullerton. The player taking the ball coast to coast is Marquez. This is Patterson, James Patterson, number 10 for Atlanta, taking it away and keeping it in, but a long kick, only two players in that zone, and Fullerton covers up, and they get it back to the Atlanta side. Solis was the one that knocked it ahead, and here again we see Fullerton taking it coast to coast with Marquez. Marquez was sitting up in the front of the net, but he fell down and they just couldn't get the ball to him for a shot on Brown. Atlanta trails 1-0, but has shown a lot of nice, individual skills, a lot of nice, many of their players showing an ability to hold on to the ball. We are in our final minute. There'll be some extra time, I believe, but we'll see a kick here coming from Fullerton's own Daniel Ruvalcaba. Ruvalcaba will try to set something up. The players from California wearing the, let's call it fluorescent gold. I'm trying to figure out what color that is since it's from Golden State. And that's the end of the first half. Well, our score here is 1-0 Fullerton, about 10 minutes into the game, off a corner kick from Carlos Guzman. Ryan Menardis scored a goal, the first goal for Fullerton of this tournament here in Wilson. And so it's 1-0 Fullerton, the Fullerton Rangers 2000 white, on top of United FA 2001 Premier from Atlanta, Georgia. 10-minute break for the half. You're watching the Turbo Sports Network. Welcome back to Wilson. The team from Fullerton, California, known officially as the Fullerton Rangers 2000 White, wearing yellow uniforms, are up 1-0. Let's take a look at the goal as it was scored here on the Turbo Sports Network. This was a kick. The player you're seeing right now
their visit to Wilson
is, excuse me here, I will take Carlos Guzman, I believe. And he sets up.
See if they can set something up off of
See a
it.
corner kick here.
Header,
He sets
or
up,
what
and
have
the
you.
goal will be scored
Shot in.
by Ryan
The shot
Medardis.
goes in.
And that, 10 minutes into the game, gave us a 1-0 lead. Now, during halftime, the acting coach of Fullerton, Abraham Jacinto, although his team up 1-0, wanted his team to play smarter defense. He was upset at some of the dives that they were making in the first half. So we'll see how that adjustment goes about as play starts here for the final 40 minutes, plus whatever extra time we'll have. The teams obviously change directions. So now that is Estrada, Jose Estrada, in the net to our right rather than to our left. Again, it is Atlanta in the white. They trail 1-0, and Fullerton in the fluorescent yellow or fluorescent light green. I'm not sure what you call the color. Perhaps someone can call Crayola and find out. Now Abraham Jacinto is coaching Fullerton today due to the fact that their regular coach, Sage Moore, not making the trip to North Carolina. He's recovering from surgery, and we wish him the best. Fullerton looking for their first victory of the tournament. It's the National League. 80 top teams in the country select soccer. Now, these are 15-year-olds, so they've not made their college commitments yet, but there have been some college scouts here. And I haven't been able to identify the colleges that they represent. I don't believe any are actually watching the game at this particular point. When it kicked off, there were a few sort of peeking their noses in, and since they were away from me, I was not able to decipher what colleges they were from, but I count 4. Well, now I'm seeing a couple of guys over here, but I'm not sure that they're scouts or not, but they're looking from afar at the action. And quite frankly, I mean, looking at afar from the halfway point of the field, that's not exactly going to, how well does he play? One nothing Fullerton here. Shot off the mark from Atlanta's Eric Serrato. It's Cy Brown in net for Atlanta, trailing 1-0, and the goalkeeper with the 1-0 lead for Fullerton is Jose Estrada. Estrada will be kicking the ball here. Throwing it in here, Serrato. But Fullerton will have possession. And now a chance here for Atlanta to tie. Nice skills right here. Can he get a shot off? No, the ball is taken away. With possession of the ball was Daniel Dobrinsky. who scored a goal in Atlanta's 4-2 victory against Cincinnati. I believe it was. So I'm trying to find out. I think it was 18 Miranda who was the player that took the ball away from. We have a Ryan Minardos, who is the only goal scored of the game. It was a little bit late to check into the game, and here he is now. Ball goes out of bounds. Throwing the ball in here is Atlanta. These are 40-minute halves. 15-year-olds being playing. And so there's roughly, 35 minutes or so left for Atlanta to tie or for Fullerton to increase their 1-0 lead. Here's Rose with the ball. Taking it away for Fullerton is number 17, Oscar Diaz. And now a well-rested Sammy Fadul gets it into Atlanta territory, but not for long. Ball last touched by Jonathan Serrano, attacking striker. But Serrano not able, he's been well marked today by Atlanta. He's not been able really to get to the center of the field much today. And the kick goes out. A wonderful day here in Wilson, North Carolina. The weather perhaps, reminiscent of the locales of these two teams, Fullerton, California and Atlanta, Georgia. Right now it's 63 degrees. And they say that the wind is going south to southwest at 10 miles an hour, but, well, we had one gust at one point during the half we joked about because it closed the door to our production truck, as you see a corner kick here from Fullerton, California. But, unfortunately for the fluorescent-clad players, Marquez could not get a handle. Now the ball is free, but kicking it away for Atlanta, an extraordinary defensive play. Let's give credit to where it's due as soon as I can get the number as play is stopped. And I'm focusing in on this player, and as soon as I can get the number, I will. Well, that's for Atlanta. Marco Suarez, number 9. He saved the game from being 2-0 Fullerton. Now here comes Atlanta again, and almost losing the ball, but still with possession, getting a shot on, well, it's not on goal, it goes a little bit wide, is number 6, Ventura, Mario Ventura, who did not start the game. Chance, oh, right there, you wondered, can a shot come off? Yes, finally, Mickey Janowitz is able to get the shot off, but the save is made by Estrada, and you'd think that, well, maybe, just maybe, had the shot been taken a little bit sooner, he could have gotten his balance off. It might have been a better opportunity to tie the game up, but it didn't occur quite that way. Still plenty of time remaining in this game. And a whistle blows. We're roughly 10 minutes into the second half. We're going to have a penalty kick as a player was knocked down. While my head was down, actually. I know that that's no excuse here, but let's see who takes the penalty kick. I believe this is going to be, if it looks like the number 6, and that'll be Mario Ventura. No, it will not be Ventura, excuse me. But the penalty kick is true. That's James Patterson, number 10, with the game-tying kick off the penalty kick. So Patterson, very tall midfielder, born just as the summer began in 2001. Well, actually just about 3 days before it began officially, I guess, but I'm pretty sure it was rather warm that day. June 18th. And we have a 1-0 game. Goals now by Patterson here in the second half for Atlanta. And Ryan Medaris. He scored the first one. Both occurring about 10 minutes into their halves. In case you're wondering, there is no overtime here. We'll have a tie game if the score remains 1-1, or for that matter 2-2, 3-3, what have you. And Fullerton will make a switch here. Christian de Guzman will come in, and coming out while walking a bit gingerly for the Rangers, that's Oscar Diaz. Ball to the center of the field. Can a shot get placed up? No. But he may have a second chance, but actually being pressured away from the action. Very good defense there by Jorge Miranda. Miranda preventing a shot on goal, and the game remains tied. Atlanta has dominated possession time here in the first half. Or second half, excuse me, second half. Doing a good job of keeping possession in the Atlanta end for Fullerton there was number 13, Christian de Guzman. Or should I say, that part of the field, the ball went off him, but here comes Fullerton again. Long kick, but to no one in particular, and Atlanta will clear. Not for long, though. Ooh, nice steal, and again by number 18, Jorge Miranda. What a But a whistle blows as a player is down, and a left knee injury right now to Zishan Shudhari, one of the top players for Atlanta. And let's see whether he will stay in the game or not. It looks like he will. So hopefully this is just an ow ow and it appears not to be serious. This is the second game of the tournament, so if you're wondering a little bit about, jet lag, that sort of thing, there has been a little bit of time for California to adjust. I don't think it would be that big of a deal right now. We're in the Eastern time zone. Ball kicked, and a nice save right there by Estrada off the kick from number 8, Andres Alvarez. Fullerton will have possession in a 1-1 tie. And we will have another sub coming in here. Here comes. This is Solis, but Solis kicks it out of bounds, and Atlanta will set up again.
Hey, you stop working! You stop working!
Jared Flores, starting striker for Fullerton, will come into the game. Both these teams employ a 4-3-3. And so Flores will come in. And he'll play. The second part of the second half. A 1-1 game. Goals in the second half by Patterson for Atlanta, and for Fullerton, Medardis. Both scored by a couple of midfielders. I'm trying to determine there the player who was able to take the ball away from Atlanta's Shatari, who had been set up in the front. And I believe his number was there. It's Roberto Flores, who prevented this game from being an Atlanta league. But here is Z making another kick on goal, but a soft one that's covered up by Estrada. Here's his punt. And Fullerton will get the ball. I like to Dobrinsky was in position to get this ball to the side of the field so that Atlanta could preserve the tie. Wanting to say something about that right now, and throwing the ball in was Marquez, but it goes out of bounds, and so we'll see how, off of a corner kick that Marquez will take, if Fullerton can regain the lead. They held a 1-0 advantage for much of the game before Patterson, about 10 minutes ago, tied the score on a penalty kick. And here is Marquez. To the fine play by the defender to keep the ball in the Fullerton game. And knocking down, and we'll have not a card, but we'll have a kick. Substitution here for Atlanta. Coming in is Edelman, coming out Mikey Janowitz. So Davis Edelman comes in, one of the outstanding midfielders. Coming out now also for Atlanta is Mari Ibarra, and Trey Hines, who had a strong first half, comes in. All right, let's see what Fullerton can do off of this kick to the center, and it is covered up by Brown on a second attempt. The ball punted away. We're now in roughly the third quarter of the game, or shall I say towards the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth. Of course, we play halves, but if you would consider what point, if I have an 80-minute game and the first 10 minutes would be an eighth, then the first second 20 would be a quarter, if you follow where I'm going with this. First 8 minutes would be a tenth. It depends on how you want to divide this up. So unofficially, we are approaching the beginning of the final stages of the game. Is that an oxymoron? Well, I'm not sure it is. Long shot off the hands of the goalkeeper, Estrada. Shot taken by Atlanta's Mario Ventura, and a strong one, but an even stronger save by Estrada. Well, coming in now for Atlanta will be Andres Alvarez. And the substitution will be the man who just took the shot. Ventura's day is done. Kick covered by Estrada. A 1-1 tie. Kind of a low punt. Play on the center of the field. And it'll go out of bounds, but not going down the hill. So a little bit of time saved here. We'll have actual action instead of retrieval. Fullerton 0-1 in the tournament here in Wilson. Atlanta 1-0, but they're tied here 1-1. How appropriate. We'll have a kick. Atlanta taking their time. They've had much of the possession in this half. But here comes Fullerton. Fullerton, California. Basically think the Anaheim area, that sort of. Cal State Fullerton, the exceptional university when it comes to baseball. Perennial College World Series participant. Ball goes out of bounds. Back in the 90s, Mark Kotze won 2 straight Golden Spikes Awards. If you're not familiar, it's the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy for college baseball. And, of course, then he went on to have a fine career in the major leagues. Kotze did. All right, we're going to have a substitution in this 1-1 tie. Atlanta's Michael Walsh comes in, coming out. Eric Serrato. So a corner kick right here. Ball in front of the net. Here's a shot. Covered up by Brown. The shot was taken. And I'm trying to get the player that took the shot, but I cannot find him on the... That wasn't Fadul, was it? No, I believe it actually was the striker, if I can, Jonathan Serrano. So I'd been mentioning that he had been covered very well today, but he finally got a shot off there. We are approaching some of the final stages of the game. Atlanta wanted to get a fresh player in. It is Adrian Resendiz. Long kick taken, but now somebody goes down and there'll be a call here. Atlanta can't believe it, but it looks like are we going to have a penalty kick here? Atlanta arguing against the call. They want to say the contact was incidental, but says he's in front of the attacking player, and this game may now be decided by a penalty shot. Taking it is going to be Ryan Medardos, who has the first goal of the game. So here comes the penalty shot late in the fourth quarter in a tie game, and it goes in! 2 goals here for Medardos have given Fullerton a 2-1 lead. One off a corner kick in the first half, and here off a penalty kick in the second. They're sandwiched around James Patterson's penalty kick goal about 10 minutes into this half. So Fullerton, who lost their first game of the tournament to McLean 4-0, now has a 2-1 lead on Atlanta, who is 1-0. Coming into the game for Atlanta, it is Adrian Resendez, as well as number 14, Andrew Shaw. Coming out of the game, Eric Serrato, and number 4, Ethan Rose. So here, in the final stages, Fullerton has taken a 2-1 advantage. No overtime here, so it appears, and there is another bit of contact. Won't be any shot. Hill will have a kick. Atlanta wants a yellow card out of this, but they're not going to get one. Shot taken by the striker, but it is knocked away. And a great play right there by the goalkeeper, Brown. And now here comes Atlanta for another rush. Not wasting any time, throwing the ball in. Walsh gets it back and throw it in again.
My fault.
The kick goes out of bounds.
Focus here! Focus here! On top of the box!
This shot blocked away. Can Atlanta? No, they won't be able to cover up to an attempt at the tying goal. Star of the day, Ryan Medaris. 2 goals today, 1 off a kick, the other a penalty kick. 1 off a header and 1 off a penalty kick, I should say. And, well, it's a 2-1 advantage for Fullerton here in the final stages of the game. The Fullerton team, known as the Fullerton Rangers 2000 white, as this shot goes wide. But don't let that fool you. They're wearing the colored uniforms, where the white uniforms belong to the United team, United FA 2001 Premier. And they're from Atlanta. We'll have a sub. This one coming in for Fullerton. It'll be Daniel Ruvalcaba. Ruvalcaba was receiving instructions, but the kick comes off, so he's not going to be able to be in the game initially, as much as Coach Jacinto would like, while Coach Moore waits at home, getting better and enjoying his team's 2-1 advantage. Ball going out of bounds. And now we have our sub. It's Ruvalcaba coming in. It's a little bit of height lost here by the Rangers, as number 7, Jared Flores, one of their 3 strikers that started the game, comes off. But fresh legs nevertheless to preserve the 2-1 advantage. From the hero of the day, holding infielder Ryan Medaris, who has a couple of tallies. Shot to the center, and a nice clearing pass right there. Or should I say a clearing kick by Guzman, Carlos Guzman. Throwing it in for Atlanta was Walsh. And he'll throw it in again. As time begins to get short. The ball out of bounds. You can see how Atlanta is just right now frantically trying to get the ball back in. They trail by a goal, and they realize time is short. This one knocked away, but Oh, the angle just not there. Here's an attempt at a kick, a long kick, but it is covered up by Estrada. So Estrada having a nice game. He made a big save earlier. The player to watch, perhaps James Patterson in the middle. He has Atlanta's only goal, number 10. He's got the size. Could not get a shot off his chest. Walsh is wasting no time to get the ball back and to throw it in. The time that I have kept is somewhat inaccurate, but I am estimating we are in our final 5 minutes as Estera is hurt after making the grab of that ball. We will have a sub now. Holding on to their 2-1 advantage. 2 players coming in now for the lads from California. And I think this is Rafael Arroyo, who hasn't played so far, but I have no 14 on the roster, and it's number 14. Meanwhile, coming out is Christian Marquez, who had a fine day, but I don't believe I have called Arroyo's name. And a lot of times what I see on these rosters, this kick taken by Patterson goes wide. And we have another player coming in. I believe this is the first time we have seen Ivan Fahimi. So they're going to try to get the freshest possible players coming on. These players have not played today to preserve the 2-1 advantage. So use of Coach Jacinto by his entire roster. And Jonathan Serrano, who is the top striker for Fullerton, comes out. So that's an indication that they're going to play defense, which you would think they would do here in the final stages of the game with a 2-1 advantage. But they're going to put as much emphasis as they possibly can, taking away their leading attacking striker, as well as fresher players to play defense. Walsh trying to get the ball ahead, but it's kicked away by Miranda. Of the Fullerton Rangers. Here's Walsh looking for somebody to throw it into. Patterson's kick is over the net. I'm told there's about a minute plus whatever extra time we have. 2-1 Fullerton. The lead taken on 2 goals by Ryan Medaris. And Fullerton now with possession, it appears, and they're taking their time, as you might think, to get to the ball. Fullerton gets position. Atlanta has dominated the time. Both teams have a goal in this period. I should say that they have dominated the time in this half, time of possession. Until just now, they don't have it when they really need it, down 2-1. And the ball is going towards me out of bounds. As I'm reporting from the sideline, Walsh wasting no time. We're in extra time, or thereabouts. Ball kicked out of bounds. Walsh going over to the side. But nobody there up front. Look for 10. That's who they're going to try to get the ball to for Atlanta in white. Their tallest player, but he is way back. He has the goal now, but is away from the play, so maybe he's not the guy that they want to get the ball to. Setting up in front of the net for Atlanta was actually Z Shadhari, who I know was told to me to be one of the Atlanta's best players coming into the game. We're now told 3 minutes of extra time. 3 minutes of extra time, so. We can likely guess that this game will not be lost by the Rangers. The question is, can they hold on for the victory? They have the ball and are very happy to just kick it away right there, so that the field position favoring their circumstances, an attempt there to keep the ball in bounds, and it actually worked pretty well by Alvarez, but he's one of the strikers and shouldn't be towards the line. Now here comes Edelman, who's been quiet. It's almost like we were looking for him earlier, but he was a player who had the ball a lot in the first half, and now not so much in the second. Throw in. Double team here in the final stages. We're in approximately our final minute, and with the ball in their own center of the field, well, here comes Fullerton. Brown's going to cover it up, and he can't wait to punt it away. And in doing so, he's got 3 guys against about 7. Try to get this tying goal. There's an attempt right there that doesn't necessarily work. Throwing the ball in. Atlanta desperately trying as the game goes into its final seconds to find some way to get the tying goal. Fullerton's going to throw it in. And the longer they have the ball, well, you know the rest. One last chance here for Atlanta. Got to kick it ahead, and here it comes, maybe for the final time. They want a call. They may get it. Fullerton being told to get into position here. So we'll have a kick. Patterson has the only goal off a penalty kick, and here he's going to try to set something up. The only goal for Atlanta, I should say. And the kick is not going to present something. Edelman, but his kick blocked away. He'll throw it away, or he'll throw it in, excuse me. Nice play there. And that is going to do it, I think. Or no, I heard 3 whistles. Miranda was the one that knocked it out of bounds. But it looks like we're still going to have a little bit of play. Dramatic action here on a corner kick. So one last chance for Atlanta. Ball goes in. Who has it? Kick goes wide, and that's it. Our final score today, Fullerton wins their first game of this tournament, going to 1-1 with a 2-1 victory against the United FA 2001 Premier Team from Atlanta, Georgia, who falls to 1-1. Goals today, well, they were both scored for Fullerton by Ryan Mandaris, the holding midfielder, with first a goal, a header in the first period, and then a penalty kick in the second. But the tying goal, they were sandwiched around a James Patterson goal about 10 minutes into the second half. Patterson scoring on a penalty kick for Atlanta. So 2-1, Fullerton Rangers 2000 white team, although they were not the ones wearing the white uniforms, with the victory today here in under 15 National League U.S. Youth Soccer Select competition from Wilson, North Carolina. Folks, I'm Marky Bilson, and you've been watching the Turbo Sports Network.